Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm the Mysterious JG. I've done some off-screening since the last time I recorded. And there was one thing I made a note that I needed to go back, that I did off-screen, that I needed to show you guys, and now I can't get it to trigger. So I'm going to tell you, if you want to see it for yourself, you can do a search on YouTube for Red Dead Redemption 2, Arthur meets homeless veteran and hugs him cutscene. Be real careful about doing one or two of those search terms and not the whole thing and opening the wrong video, because there is I guess a follow-up which I watched while trying to I watched most of it. I was trying to see if a video of my random encounter was available on YouTube that I could send you guys to, since when I went back and loaded an earlier state I can't seem to find the guy that I encountered. But you have to be careful, because apparently there's another scene involving a homeless vet that takes place in the post-game action and drops a big fat spoiler. So I've now had a major part of the ending spoiled. I'm holding out some hope that, because I've heard rumors that there might be more than one ending to the game depending on where your honor meter is. But I feel like I had a pretty big part of the ending spoiled for me, and I'm going to avoid doing that to you guys. But if you want to see this scene for yourself, basically, we heard him yelling, and I think ignored him at least once on screen. But there's a guy, he's like a beggar, but when you actually get off your horse and talk to him, he is a one-armed Civil War vet. Pretty clearly he's meant to have lost his arm in the war, and he just says, "I'm way too old to get a job now, mister. Would you be my friend?" And you can agree to be his friend, and he tells you that he hasn't had any friends for a long time. My last friend died, weren't my fault. And then he says, "You got real sad eyes like you've seen sad things." Dead eyes like a doll's eyes. He doesn't say that. And he asks you if you can hug him, if he can hug you, and you sort of accept reluctantly, and he gives you this big one-armed hug, and you kind of pat him on the back awkwardly, and he thanks you, and it's actually pretty sad. But I did that off screen, and then some other stuff happened. I'm like, shoot, I do want to save this progress, so I'll go back and meet that guy again off screen in an old save, but now it's just not working. As far as what I did do off screen, well, for one thing, I stole a lot of carts and sold them to the fence. So we've got a good bit more money now than we had. And most of what I did off screen was sell carts to this fence. I just kind of wandered around this general area. On rare occasions, I was able to actually get somebody to turn over their cart without having to kill them. But most of the time, I had to kill people, chase down any witnesses, and threaten them to not talk, and then took the carts back. I also, in my wanderings, found another town, Rhodes, and in Rhodes, I didn't do anything except I realized that their saloon has blackjack, and blackjack was what we needed for the next gambling challenge. So I used some of our ill-gotten gains to win the next gambling challenge. So we now have 7 of 90, huge progress made. We had to double down and win the hand 5 times. So I was basically doubling down no matter what. I remember at one point, because you don't have to bet. Your minimum bet is 2 cents, and it's not like in poker where somebody raises and you have to meet them or back out. You just bet on your hand. So I was doing these tiny, tiny little bets. Even if I got 20, like I got, a jack and a king, I would still double down and get hit just trying to win, and eventually that happened. And now we'd have to do Mumbly Peg or Five Fingers Fillet. And I know where to do that, but I don't know that I feel like doing that right now. But no, so off screen, lots and lots of stealing carts, and also, so now we have almost $500, all of which I'm going to dump into camp, and I think we'll be back to being dirt poor again. But that also costs us. Now there's a button. There's a button. One of these. Oh, well, that's my journal. So I can read. As for Mary, I trust it will not make a god-awful fool of myself once more, but somehow imagine I shall. That's nice. There's something where you can actually... Maybe it doesn't work when you're on the horse.
Yep.
I'm doing something wrong here. I had figured out how to see your honor meter. But I've messed that up somehow. Alright, never mind. I've lost it. I knew the button that shows your honor meter, and I've completely forgotten what that is. But, oh, yeah, you just press, you don't hold. So my honor was actually probably up at almost the 3/4 mark, or close to it, and it's dropped from all the robberies, because robbing people and killing people and looting bodies, all of that reduces your honor. But I also found out a fairly simple damn way to get your honor back, which is to talk to people. Like, every time you greet someone, you get honor. So that's silly, but it works. You can spam that. It's not every single time, but I guess every, like, 5th or 10th time you greet somebody, you get a little boost to your honor. So that's something we can do. And now it's going to take all of my self-control not to steal this guy's carriage and try to sell it to the fence, because now that I'm finally recording, I can accomplish some plotty stuff. One of the main things that finally brought an end to my off-screening, because I was having a good time with it, but I had to end it because I kept encountering the same... You remember how we encountered a guy who was in a prison... Oh, I hate when they do this. It's a guy in a prison wagon, and we freed him and he gave us a robbery tip. I keep encountering a prison wagon taking a woman to prison who apparently murdered her husband, and she keeps saying, I didn't have a choice. He was beating me every night. And I kept encountering that, and I kept wanting to free her and take the honor hit and get it back by greeting people in town. But I wanted to do that on screen. And I just kept, like, it kept spawning no matter where I went. And if I was on a road, ever. Boom.
Hey, let's talk about this.
Oh.
Arthur, come lend a hand here. That sounds about right.
Go ahead and call your mama for all I care.
Take it easy. I got lumbago.
You might want to quit that. That drunk's got mean friends, believe me.
I don't know. Oh, that's Uncle.
Wasting my time anyway.
I didn't realize it was Uncle, or I might have left him.
No sense of humor, the fellers around here.
How drunk were you?
Just normal drunk.
Hot food drunk?
Anyway, I should probably hit the breeze. I'll be at camp if you need me.
Unlikely.
Maybe try keeping your mouth shut next time.
Oh, come on.
Don't steal my horse, neither.
You'd all be bored as rocks without me.
So I guess I could come...
Just
You know, he ain't a bad feller.
Yeah, I'd
All
come
things
greet everybody in here.
That man's head's going soft in his old age. You better watch out for him.
Oh, Will. Don't worry. He won't die till the next game. Or the previous game.
And what do you want?
I guess you can't greet the bartender.
Hey, weren't you the one in here talking to that feller with Jim Boy Calloway?
I
Yeah,
was.
that's right.
More like Jim Drunk Old Man Calloway.
True.
Sure seems that way.
Anyway, now that I know you make fun of the people who drink it yourself, I'd like to buy a drink.
Howdy, fellers.
Good evening.
Nice to see some friendly faces around here.
Yep.
Sure do appreciate you beating up Uncle. Or threatening to.
Goddamn cheating bastards. I see someone cheating.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Evening.
Oh, I'm hoping this will trigger, but while trying to trigger the homeless vet, I got another random encounter in town.
Hey there.
Ran into the guy who we sucked snake venom out of him and saved his life. Yeah, he was hanging around up here, and he gave us like a reward. And then I was like, ah, shit, I better just load, because all I'm going to do while trying to get this random encounter is get...
we got you pegged in this town.
Sorry, there must be some mistake.
I'm a super nice guy. Yeah, so I ran into the guy who we sucked snake venom out of on the road, and he thanked us and
Evening, friend.
offered to buy anything we wanted from the gun store. And now he's not here.
Y'all doing all right?
Huh?
You look like a man on a mission.
I don't know if you're King Mabel or Sir Mo.
So,
Possibly
keep you-
Oscar.
Watch your back now.
evening. Evening.
But you see I'm getting little upticks to my honor meter.
Hey, mister.
Hey, buddy. Good thing for you I'm not off screening. I'd follow you out of town and steal your cart.
I've had better days, that's for sure.
Good evening.
Partner?
But there you go. You basically walk around in town. Eventually, you run into O'Driscoll's and probably have to knock it off. But run around in town and you get free honor points. So now what I'm going to do
Hey, partner.
is I'm going to do on screen here because what kept screwing me up was, again, this cart spontaneously generating and forcing me to, either rescue the lady or ignore her pleas. But the next, well, that's my phone. I am going to hope that's nothing critical because I'm not going to answer it. But you are going to hear it ring, and I apologize for that. Actually, I'm just nervous enough to check and make sure that's not a work-related call. I'm not on the clock, but kind of always on the clock, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we have a 5-minute dash to get to Valentine to Rhodes, which is one reason I was like, oh, this is Rhodes. Okay, handy, because I was vaguely trying to do the Horseman challenges, Gangland, Figure 4 on Sting, that kind of thing. And then I ran into this one. I was like, well, I guess I'd need to know where Rhodes was before I can do this. So I am just checking. I do not recognize that number, so that is more than likely a robocall, so that's cool. All right, sorry. Oh, wait, now I did have a voicemail. I'll listen to the voicemail later. Okay. I apologize. I'm nervous enough. There's things going on at work that could potentially have led to a phone call when I'm not supposed to be on the clock. So, back to it. But yeah, 5-minute dash to get to the next town, or to get from here to Valentine. So I'm going to do that. That's not really that challenging if we don't get interrupted. Matter of fact, it's actually pretty damn simple if you kind of ignore the directions you're given and get on the railroad tracks. Game does not tell you to use railroad tracks as a road, and it is dangerous because you have to be listening, and you have to be willing to jump off of the railroad tracks if a train is coming so you don't get killed. And you have to actually center yourself on the railroad tracks to deal with the bridges as they come. Probably should have filled up my horse's stamina before starting this, but 5 minutes should be plenty of time. So, you're supposed to tap the button in time with the horse's, I guess its hooves hitting the ground and making that noise. That's what I'm attempting to use. And music starts playing because atmospheric music starts playing every time you're just kind of riding long distances and no dialogue is happening. Sadly, we don't have, I'm blanking on his name, the DJ for the, oh shoot, let me check the map and make sure we're going the right way. Hopefully this doesn't come out of my time. Yeah, we want to bear left here, and that should take us to Rhodes. We don't have Mr. New Vegas narrating, talking to us and telling us how much he loves us between playings of Johnny Guitar. But we also don't have Smooth Light Jazz, which is this. The Onion had kind of an amusing thing where they said that Red Dead Redemption 2's cinematic experience marred by smooth jazz soundtrack, and it was just you'd have like a couple of minutes of RDR2 footage with a jazz track over top of it, and you're like, yes, indeed, that does kind of prevent it from feeling like you're really in the Old West. So it's quite possible for me by using the railroad tracks. That will cause me to mess this up if I going over a bridge and get too far off center. because it is a little bit different than driving a car in Grand Theft Auto. The horse does somewhat have a mind of its own. And at nighttime in particular, this probably isn't that smart because it's difficult to tell where I can drift slightly off the track and where I can't. But so far I've had good luck as far as not running into any trains, any O'Driscoll ambushes, that sort of thing. Because that can be a thing. Off screen I ran into at least one gang ambush and I just like rode straight through, but eventually I need to find an opportunity to get the jump on people so I can kill 3 people with throwing knives. Horse is getting a little antsy here. Don't know how much farther I have to go. Horse is getting a bit fed up. So I'm slowing down quite a bit here. Try to give his stamina core a chance to recover. Or hers, I don't really know. There is an official gender for this horse. I have not checked. But I think he says, there we go. Alright, my lovely horse, you did a fine job. Okay, now we got that completed. We could start in on that stranger side quest while we're here, dealing with different gunslingers. But to be honest with you, I wanted to get back to Horseshoe Overlook and buy some stuff. So this might be a bit of an uneventful video. Coming back. But now, while mounted, drag a victim for 3,300 feet behind your lasso. That's an interesting and rather cruel thing. Riding past. I don't know if it's a gangland hideout or just somebody's campfire. What? Pardon me?
Not a smart move to travel alone in these parts, especially looking like you.
Oh, that's a different gang.
You look like you might need a few smacks to set you straight. Be smart and keep. You're done. You're done now, you bastard.
Oh, easy, girl. It's okay.
God damn it!
You can release L2 in the... This is fun and doesn't have any weird racial overtones at all. So I probably don't want to get on the road because I'll be likely to be spotted and charged with assault, but it sure makes it a lot easier to move around if I was on the road. So it's kind of tempting to try to do it on the road. I wonder at what point this would kill him. Because we're doing this fairly slow. But yeah, guy shouldn't have mouthed off, I guess. Not when I was looking for a reason to drag someone behind my horse. I would imagine it will tell me when I've done this enough. And you can tie people on the railroad tracks in this game. So I believe he died. Well, how much farther have I got to do this? This is a fun challenge. I'm only about halfway there. 1580. Let's see if it matters that he's dead. I want to see if it's still counting. So I'm at 1580. Okay, it's still counting, so that's good. I basically just need to make sure that nobody sees me.
Yeah.
And you know, to that end, if anyone does see me, I got my mask on now. Oh, it looks like sounds like a pig saw me and is rather upset.
Yep.
Saw something ahead, but that was a wild animal. So for a minute I thought that was somebody on horseback who was going to report me to the authorities, because at this point I've clearly committed murder. Not for the first time or last time in this LP, I'm sure. But hey, he mouthed off. He had to die. That'll stand up in court if I'm ever arrested too, I'm sure. Hey, the guy told me that the air wasn't free around here.
Yep.
I mean, in fairness, he pulled a gun on us. All right. Trample 5 animals while on horseback. Lemoyne Ranger. I guess that's a gang. I'm not sure. Inspect document. Lemonade Raiders letter. A note on the recruitment of young Southern men to the cause. Oh, God. I'm trying to let you know our raids against the Jawjackers in Lawrence, Kansas have been successful. There are many times they set us on a campaign, but I doubted there was a God who loved us today, but I have a glimmer of hope. They call us Lemonade Raiders bushwhackers and border ruffians. It does not diminish our fight for a free state and to be free of the incursions of northerners set on changing our way of life. I hope you'll continue to recruit more young men to the cause here in Lemoyne. We will ride through their ranks and smite down the oppressors. History is not over and shall be rewritten. It is always dark as before dawn. Alright, so they're a bunch of lost cause loons. Good to know that the game is
Hey there, girl.
going to have a little bit of fun with the old lost cause.
Yep.
There are still Southerners today who think that the South will rise again. Don't have a problem with it rising again as, say, an economic powerhouse or a important cultural bloc, but that's not necessarily what they mean, the people who use that phrase. Anyways. I probably have run over 5 animals on horseback at this point, but it's...
Hey, stop right where you are.
No thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Not that way. Good job, Boris. So that was a... those guys were going to rob me. And I'm not into getting robbed by those guys. So let's ride into the valley. Carefully, if I can. It's like this. I'd like to get as far as I can towards base camp before calling it a video here. Because this video has turned out to be more productive than I might have figured. I knew I was planning to get in our 5-minute ride, which I didn't think would be that exciting, but in addition to the 5-minute ride, we got another horseback challenge. So all in all, it's gone pretty well. And that was a fun little challenge where we dragged somebody who's like, you know, be proud, Mr. Go to stop going to do it again. Do, oh shit, I'm getting dragged 3,300 feet behind a horse. Do. Yeah. We, dude, I'm saying. So apparently we just dragged Michael P.S. Hayes to his death. So, unless I go out of my way to find someplace that has lots of rabbits, we're now just going to... We'll get the next horse challenge whenever we get the next horse challenge. Like, over time, I will gradually, without really intending to, or... I'm just saying hello. Yeah, without really going out of our way to do it with much intent, we will eventually run over 5 animals. And for a while, I'll be a psychopath who, during my Let's Play, if I notice an animal that is small enough for us to run over, I will, we're not in the middle of something really critical, go out of my way to run it over. And there's the Mexican feller who wants to challenge us to a friendly shooting competition, which I've been intentionally avoiding because I suck at that, and though eventually we need to probably try and do it. Let's not get killed by a train here. Now I'll be curious to see if this triggers too, because in my off-screening I also at one point came back to camp off-screen and there was a party being held because of Sean's safe return. So I backed out of that, figuring you guys would want to see it. What? Is this suddenly like Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy? That was weird.
Arthur! Oh, Arthur!
I think the party is about to begin. Yeah, I think that weirdness was about teleporting into town and them loading up special party activities in the camp as opposed to it just being a regular visit to camp. So next time, we're going to have a party. I think that's why Dutch is there to greet us, to inform us of party time. I'm the Serious JG. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time for party time. Oh, didn't bring anything to the party. If I'd known, I would have kept dragging that Lemon Knight Ranger guy here to be, have his dead body displayed for sport. See you next time.